Mickey Ibarra, Chairman and founder of the the Latino Leaders Network. I'll tell you, I'm thinking national right now because I think Governor Bill Richardson is ready to go national. Don't you agree? The Latino Leaders Network is the host today of the Latino Leaders Luncheon Series. I want to welcome you to the Capitol Hilton, our new home, for today's event featuring Governor Bill Richardson of New Mexico. And to start, we have asked our honorary chaplain of the Latino Leaders Network, former Congressman from New York, Bobby Garcia, to offer our invocation and blessing on the food. Bobby?
Before I pray, I just, as I say at every one of these Latino Leaders conference, I want each one of you at all the tables to really look at each other, know each other, because it's really a privilege. Years ago when we started, we never dreamt that we would have this type of a gathering. So I really want all of you to understand that as Latino leaders, you have a deep responsibility for the communities that you represent and come from. I'm particularly delighted today because my colleague, Bill Richardson, is the honoree. Bill started 25 years ago, and I won't say any more than that. But except to say that in times of crises, my own personal crises, Bill Richardson and his wife never deserted me for 1 second. So you can talk about the politician, but I'll talk about the morality and the character of the man. And with that, let us bow our heads. Lord, we thank you for this food that we're about to eat. We thank you especially, Lord, for the leaders who are assembled. We thank you for the leadership of Mickey Ibarra, who had the foresight to put these things together, to give us a chance to know each other. We thank you for the members of Congress who are here today. We thank you especially for the ambassadors. We thank you, Lord, because in all their ways, they are representatives of their country. And so, my Father, as we close this prayer, we thank you. But we thank you, Lord, because you are who you are. You're the King. You're the King of Kings. You're the Lord of Lords. And because we love you and you love us, we thank you. And we all say, en el nombre del Padre, del Hijo, del Espíritu Santo. Amen.
Thank you, Bobby. Veterans of the Latino Leaders Luncheon Series know that we reserve a 3-minute portion of our program to learn more about a Latino organization that is advancing our community. Earlier today at the Latino Leaders Issue Hour, we focused on the Latino vote, a topic so important to our future. I want to thank Maria Teresa Peterson, Juan Andrade, Joe Garcia, and Robert De Posada for participating in our program today. Jorge Mursuli, the National Executive Director at Democracia USA, is a man on a mission to increase Latino voter participation with a proven track record of success. Please welcome Jorge for brief remarks about his important work. Jorge.
Good afternoon. For my 2 minutes and 58 seconds, I'll tell you a little bit about Democracia. For the last 3 years, we've worked diligently at community engagement, civic empowerment, and leadership development in Hispanic communities. The program started in Florida in 2004. It is now in 4 states, soon to be in 6. We believe in the spirit of family, and we believe in the integrity that comes from that spirit. And through systems of accountability and hard work and integrity, we have, I believe, built a wonderful program that we hope that with the support of our communities and the general community at large, we're able to do a lot more. And ultimately, what we would like is to yield political power for our communities, respect, and a protection and a dignification of our culture around this country as part of the fabric of this great United States. I just wanted to, first of all, thank Nikki for the opportunity. We are looking to, like I said, move into the states of Nevada, California, and Texas. We welcome all sorts of support that you feel like you are able to provide. And ultimately, my hope is that this room continues to grow, not only here in Washington, but in Philadelphia, in Chicago, in Miami, and in all of the major cities around the United States. Thank you very, very much.
Before we hear from our sponsors, and I just want to mention that, once again, the Verizon Communications, as well as the Coca-Cola Company, are sponsors of today's luncheon, and I'd like everyone to acknowledge them. Verizon Communications has been with us from the very beginning, since 2004 as a co-sponsor. And they, like the Coca-Cola Company, have agreed to co-sponsor this event for the entire year again. With us to deliver sponsor remarks for Verizon is Howard Woolley, Senior Vice President for Public Policy and Government Affairs. Howard?
Good afternoon. Mickey, Governor Richardson, and distinguished leaders, thank you for this opportunity to give remarks from Verizon. I'm going to turn 50 in a few months, so I got to put these on. Verizon has co-sponsored the Latino Leaders Luncheon since 2004, and this is something that we take great pride in. And we take great pride in our connection to the Hispanic community. We value this occasion to help bring Latino leaders together at these monthly luncheons. I'm joined here by my colleagues from Verizon, Keith Fulton, Mark Keem, and Michael Bagley, who heads up our Western region for Verizon Wireless. Today, we will hear from Governor Bill Richardson. I was fortunate to meet him 20 years ago when he was in the House of Representatives, and someone asked me yesterday whether Bill has a nickname for me, and he does, and I think later on he's going to rib me unmercifully, and I won't be able to respond. I'll be sitting right there. But he was, even then, he was a great leader on the House Energy and Commerce Committee, headed by John Dingell then and headed by John Dingell now. And Bill would come up with these great ideas, and the other members would always wonder, is that great staffing where these ideas come from? And his staff would say, no, these are Bill's ideas. Bill is the one focused on this. So we're proud to be here with Governor Richardson. As you know, in 2002 he was elected governor of the state of New Mexico. He has served as a U.S. ambassador to the UN and has been nominated on occasion for Nobel Peace Prizes. Like the governor, we at Verizon understand the importance of providing for our communities. Diversity is a key part of what we do, and we're proud to be part of the elite billion-dollar roundtable where Verizon exceeds $1 billion in purchases annually from minority and women businesses. We take great pride in this recognition, and we take great pride in the things that we're doing as Verizon Wireless, the cell phone company, in the Hispanic community with bilingual call centers, business development. Our Navigator product is now in Spanish. Our ESPN products and our video channels are now in Spanish language, as we will be rolling out live TV fairly shortly, and we have alliances with the Telemundo and the other Hispanic content providers. So we're very pleased with what we're doing here, and very pleased to join you, the Hispanic leaders, in having Governor Bill Richardson with us here today. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? We love Verizon. There's another great company, another great sponsor of ours that we love as well. And of course I speak of the Coca-Cola Company. And representing the Coca-Cola Company, a native New Mexican, our friend, Rudy Becerra.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mickey. On behalf of the Coca-Cola Company, I bring greetings from our CEO, Mr. Neville Isdale, and I'm also joined here by one of my associates, Frank Ross. Thank you for being here from Atlanta. Our sponsorship this year for the 2007 Latinos Leaders Network Luncheon featuring Governor Bill Richardson is a unique event. It is a great opportunity to bring our leadership from the private and public sectors together with others here in Washington, D.C. to network and get better acquainted. Mickey Ibarra is a visionary who created this Latino Leaders Series, and those of you who know Mickey understand his incredible ability to bring people together. Mickey, thank you for bringing us together. Today, as a native New Mexican, and are there more New Mexicans in the house? And as someone who has followed closely and watched with great pride the notable achievements of the individual we honor today, from his early beginnings as a grassroots politics to his candidacy for President of the United States, Hispanics in general and New Mexicans in particular have reason to be proud of Governor Bill Richardson, and we're just excited to hear his remarks later on. We at the Coca-Cola Company thank you for joining us today, and I'm sure I speak for Verizon, and I definitely speak for the Coca-Cola Company, that we look forward to continuing to work with Governor Richardson and the many Latino leaders that are here today. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome former Congressman, United Nations Ambassador, and Secretary of Energy, Bill Richardson, Governor of New Mexico. Governor Richardson, this is the 9th event of the luncheon series that began in 2004 to provide a platform in our nation's capital for Latino leaders to convene quarterly to share our personal stories of obstacles overcome to achieve success. By doing so, the Latino Leaders Network hopes this luncheon series will help our leaders know more about each other, listen to each other, learn from each other, and assist each other. We as a leadership community must be better to each other. The Latino Leaders Network will build each other up. Others may try to tear us down, but we must build each other up. Don't you agree? The signature events of the Latino Leaders Network include this quarterly luncheon, the Latino Leaders Issue Hour, and the Latino Mayors Dinner, held in conjunction with the United States Conference of Mayors winter and summer meetings. For more information about the Latino Leaders Network, please go to latinoleadersnetwork.org. As was mentioned, today's event, Governor, is made possible by Verizon Communications and the Coca-Cola Company. We are grateful for their long-standing support of the Latino community. In addition, thanks to the Anheuser-Busch Company for sponsoring our pre-luncheon reception, and I would like to ask our executives from Anheuser-Busch who are here to please stand and receive our thanks. Would like to acknowledge some other elected officials and several additional leaders. Congressman Joe Baca, Chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Joe. Congressman Bob Filner of California. Bob. I also understand that Congressman Ruben Hinojosa is with us. Is that right? Also, Senator Kenneth McClintock, President of the Senate of Puerto Rico. J. Walter Tejada, Vice Chair of the Arlington County Board. There we go. Adolfo Carrion, President, the Borough of the Bronx, right here. And from our diplomatic corps, Ambassador Luis Gallegos of Ecuador. Also Ambassador Carlos Westendorp y Cabezas of Spain. We have several tribal government leaders with us also that I would like to thank for joining us. William Two Dogs Bozeman, Chairman of the Mohegan Tribe of Connecticut. Chairman. Finally, rather than acknowledge every leader, I believe you're all leaders in this room. So rather than acknowledge everyone individually, I hope that you'll understand we want to represent, or rather acknowledge, all of the organizations that are represented here today by their leadership, the congressional caucuses and political appointees together. all of the leaders of our national organizations, our congressional caucuses. Would you please stand to be recognized, please? Rosa, others, please. We are now going to serve the main course, and then we will come back with our introduction and our remarks from our featured speaker. Thank you. Thank you. The Latino Leaders Network has expanded its media coverage by forming key media partnerships in Spanish and English to include the Hispanic Communications Network, El Tiempo Latino, the Latino Leaders Magazine, and HITN TV, who broadcast this event nationally on both Dish TV and Direct and other cable providers. We thank our media partners for helping us extend the reach of this event to our community. Senator Leticia Van Depute of Texas, the first Hispanic president of the National Conference of State Legislatures, fell victim to the D.C. snow and ice storm on Sunday and was unable to make the trip today as planned. However, we are delighted that Adolfo Carrion, President of the Bronx, is here with us to introduce our featured speaker. President Carrion is only the 12th chief executive of the Bronx since 1898. The son of a Protestant minister and a mother who gave him a daily dose of the Golden Rule, served as an associate pastor and later as a public school teacher. Welcome, Adolfo Carrion.
Thank you very much, Mickey. I appreciate the opportunity to step in as a pinch hitter today. You know that I represent the home of the Bronx Bombers, and we're always ready to play ball. It is a great honor to be here. I see so many friends. It's almost like a family reunion. So many people who are involved in so many positive activities and in what essentially, when you reduce it to its basic elements, is nation building. As I was sitting there and hearing the buzz around Governor Richardson and some of the staff keeping him on time and on task, they were saying, "Mr. Governor, you have to be out of here at 1:30 on the nose." I had a 20-minute introduction that I will reduce to 1 minute, Governor. But it's really an honor. I bring you greetings from 44 square miles of God's good American earth, where 1,400,000 Americans live. It's a place called Bronx, New York. Greetings to all of you. I know that everywhere I go I meet somebody who inevitably has a connection to the Bronx. We're very proud that for many, many years we had Congressman Bob Garcia representing the Bronx, New York, and it's so nice to see you, Congressman. Thank you for your service to our borough and to our country. Let me repeat some of the things that have been said. Bill Richardson is as American as apple pie. Bill Richardson has served as a university professor, which hasn't been said, as a member of Congress for many years. He was U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, where He dealt with issues in North Korea, Iraq, Cuba, the Sudan. He negotiated hostage and servicemen's release from very bad situations. He addressed international negotiations and crises. He addressed the issue of democracy and its growth around the world and human rights, biological weapons proliferation, international terrorism, women's rights, global warming. And then the president, he also served as a cabinet member for President Bill Clinton as Secretary of Energy, and you know all the work that he did as the Secretary of Energy. He's done a lot for our country, but let me just mention 5 things that stand out as I introduce Governor Bill Richardson. Number 1, recently he went to Darfur, where he orchestrated a ceasefire, a very delicate ceasefire between the Sudanese government and local militias. And people said it couldn't be done, and he went and he did it. People also said you shouldn't go, and he went, because that's what leaders do. Number 2, and not necessarily in that order, Governor Richardson has engineered the greatest turnaround in New Mexico history. That state is back as strong as it has ever been. Number 3, he enjoys the largest margin of victory in his recent re-election as governor of New Mexico, the largest margin of victory in New Mexico history. Almost 70%. You heard it before, I think Howard mentioned it. Not too many people can say this. He was nominated 4 times for the Nobel Peace Prize. 4 times. But the most fun distinction that I like, and I serve as vice president of the National Association of Latino Elected Officials. I bring you greetings on their behalf as well, many thousands around the country, and we serve together in that organization. But he holds a very special distinction. You know, he used to play baseball. He's an athlete, a distinguished athlete that almost made it to the pros. I guess he can tell you that story. But he holds a world record. Did you know that? He holds a world record? The governor of New Mexico is a world record holder. In 1907, and he's not that old, in 1907, on Inauguration Day, President Theodore Roosevelt shook more hands than anybody has shaken in American history as a politician. Well, in the year 2002, and this is the truth because they told me it was, at the New Mexico, the largest New Mexico County fair, he corralled and fenced the people that were in the county fair, created one exit, stood at the exit of the county fair, and shook more hands, 13,400 hands, to set a world record for the politician that has shaken more hands than anybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a great pleasure this afternoon to introduce a great American, a great leader in our country, Governor Bill Richardson. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's going to be possibly the next mayor of New York. Eh? Gracias. Thank you so much. I'm overwhelmed because in acknowledging Mickey Ibarra and Bobby Garcia and all the sponsors and the presidents of all the organizations that are so important to our community, the members of Congress that are here, we could have a vote here. We need to pass that comprehensive immigration bill. And so many ambassadors. Ambassador Westendorf of Spain is here. Gave me a wonderful dinner last night. The ambassador said, you can have a guest list that is proper protocol of 20, or you can have a Hispanic guest list and have 80. And we had a great turnout. And I want to thank you, Mr. Ambassador. Congressman Baca, Chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Bobby Garcia over here was the first chairman of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. And Bobby, I'm going to talk a little bit about acknowledging everyone, but what Mickey also said, he said, don't give like a stump speech. Don't talk about policy issues. We want to hear about your life and being a Latino and moving forward and what it means to you. In other words, he wants me to write a decent speech, which I will do shortly. He did tell me something. I feel good. Apparently, we sold more than Eva Longoria did 3 months ago. Of course, he didn't say it to you. He said it to me. Así es que no es cierto eso. But I wanted to, just reflect a little bit. And there are a lot of people here that I should thank, because I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't, for instance, for Bobby Garcia, who got me on the Commerce Committee, Energy and Commerce, that got me my career in the Congress, or Jack Otero from the labor movement, who backed me when no one else backed me, or so many of the, John and so many of the other leaders of the community, Janet, their organizations, NCLR, and Maldef, and LULAC. I know Rosa's here. She's endorsed me. Thank you. You should all follow suit. So that is thank you. Gracias. Thank you very much. Now, talking a little bit about your background. Why am I standing here? Why maybe we've had success in New Mexico in diplomacy, in energy? I truly believe it's because of my bilingual upbringing. My mother, I'm going to tell you a story to start this out. 92 years old, 92 años, Maria Luisa Lopez Collada. In fact, they used to say, hey, Bill, you're Hispanic. Get rid of the Richardson. Say Bill Lopez Richardson. It didn't fit on a bumper sticker, so we didn't do it. But I talked to my mother just 3 days ago, 92 years old. Viejita, Moms, here's my only, emotional message to everybody. Spend more time with your mom and dad, especially in the later years, because, you're going to have those remembrances. So I said to my mother, Mother, how are you? And she said, she used to call me Vilito, not Bill, Billy, Vilito. ¿Cómo estás, mijo? Very good, Mother. Are you still governor of New Mexico? Yeah. Yes, Mother, I am. So we talk another 7-8 minutes. And then she says, Oye, hijo, ¿todavía eres gobernador de Nuevo Mexico? I said, yes, Mother, I am. I'm still governor. I haven't been impeached in the last 7 minutes. In fact, Mother, I want you to know, last January 20th, I announced for president. And she said, Presidente de qué? So, there goes I was put in my place right away. But that was my mom, and I remember those many times at home in Mexico City because I remember so vividly my mom only talking to me in Spanish. And we were at the dinner table, me and my sister, only in Spanish. And then my father, actually, when he did talk to me, was a very stern father in English. And that's how I went to school, both languages simultaneously, not classes divided, but half the class would be maybe in English and Spanish. You move between those two worlds. And I remember also dreaming in Spanish. Here I was 18 years old. I dream in Spanish. And then as I got older, the conflicts. Am I an American? And I want to thank my dad because I wouldn't be a candidate for president if it weren't for my dad. We lived in Mexico City. My mother Mexican, my father an American, although born in Nicaragua, he was an American citizen. And so we lived in Mexico, the expectation I'd be born there. But my dad was so determined that I'd be an American that we drove in one of those old cars to Pasadena, California, just for me to be born. Because he was so proud that his son would be a full-fledged American. So I went up, I was born, left immediately. You know, this is Huntington Hospital in Pasadena. They try to get me to, you know, contribute money. They say, well, what are your roots in Pasadena? I said, about 3 hours. So that's it. I have done. But, you know, if they move up to California primary, I'm going to be, you know, pushing that. So there we were. And I remember growing up, you know, my love was baseball. I loved it. I wasn't as good as Carrion said, but I loved it. I loved it. I just, you know, girls, they all, studies really ranked last. But baseball, I just would love to play, and I'd go to the games. And whenever I was in the United States, the New York Yankees and Mickey Mantle and Tom Tresh and Elston Howard. I'm showing my age, but Carrion, you understand that great tradition of the Bronx Bombers. And then following baseball today, and Mickey's saying that maybe you're going to get the next speaker will be the general manager of the Mets, Omar Minaya, who has brought Latinos into baseball like nothing else. The best players are our people. In fact, all of the players are the best, and they're our people. And so what I wanted to just move forward, and I love this life, and it was a bicultural life, but, you know, I was conflicted in high school in the United States. They'd call me Pancho, you know, because I knew, was I American? You know, they'd look at me, Richardson, and, you know, the English wasn't perfect, and so I was the Pancho. And then I would go on vacation or go to Mexico City, and I was always playing baseball. And I remember hitting. I was a pretty good hitter. And I remember somebody yelling from the stands. We got into these championship games. Poncha al gringo, which means, you know, strike out the gringo. So I, you know, I wasn't either. And as I evolved, no, this is a true story. You know, I'm sure these reporters are going to have a field day with this. But that's what Mickey wanted. I mean, you want me to pour my heart out, and besides saying thank you, that's how I evolved. And then in politics, I always felt that being bicultural, I think this is true of all of us here, and this is my only, message. You know, there's a candidate for president on the other side that, you know, has lost all this weight, and he's preaching to everybody that you got to do the same. You know, that's his business. It's good to be healthy. I, you know, lost a little weight, but not enough. But clearly, what I'm going to say to you is not preaching, because I think you do what you want. But being bicultural, learning two languages, living in two worlds, being Hispanic, I think is an advantage because we're sensitive to other points of view, to other cultures, to other countries, to other ways of getting things done. You so respect each other. You know, in the Sudan, we got an American journalist out. We got this ceasefire. With Fidel Castro, we spoke Spanish. I remember we got 3 political prisoners out. And the conversation didn't start out too well. I started out in Spanish, and President Castro said, well, I understand that you went to, and this is after I had gone after him on the human rights issue, because, you know, it's an abominable situation. And so he said, I want you to go to a baseball game. So I went to a baseball game. And then we had a second meeting. And he said, well, what did you think about our baseball? And I said, pues, in Cuba batean muy bien, but your pitching is awful. You know, it's like 14-11. And he said, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. There you go. You're a gringo. You don't know anything. He said that. We have good pitching. I said, well, you know, you might keep the score down, 14-11. And so, you know, a little disagreement, but a connection started. And we started, and then I said, my God, I see Reverend Jesse Jackson. You gave him a bunch of prisoners. What about me, the Hispanic, you know? And so, you know, you sometimes, and we brought 3 back. And I was very, very proud of that. So, I get to the Congress, and I run for Congress in New Mexico. Obviously, I'm Hispanic, but I'm not a native-born New Mexican. And my name isn't Lopez, although it is. I'm Bill Richardson. And there's also Native Americans, maybe 12%, especially in the primary, 18% Native American. And so I'm navigating between a bunch of very, very attractive, important candidates, Congressman Tom Udall, Roberto Mondragon, you know, an icon of Hispanic politics in New Mexico, and Bill Richardson. And so, you know, I got to get votes anywhere I can. And so the Hispanic vote, a big bulk, goes to Mondragon. I get my chunk. The Anglo vote, we split with Udall. And then the Native Americans, God bless them, went with me. And so I won by 3%. So every time I go to the Native Americans, I say, you know, whatever you want, kick in it. You know, and because you remember where you came from. This is another thing, since we're getting, you know, personal. You got to remember who brought you to the dance. In other words, right now, you know, governor, running for president, whatever. You get a lot of people telling you how great you are. Nothing's wrong. You know, I'm skinny, all of that stuff. But I want you to remember those that were with you when you weren't doing so well. That's where your friends are. Those are your friends. And in other words, Carrion, when you're mayor, Yankee Stadium tickets for everybody here, eh? So you remember who brought, and that's why Jack Otero, and that's why Bobby Garcia, you know, who got me on the Commerce Committee. I didn't finish that story, but Congressman Baca, who's in a great committee, knows how important it is that your first committee be key. And Bobby, the Steering and Policy Committee, 16 members, you have to get a majority of the votes. And what Bobby told me is, you've got to tell this congressman from Texas, whose name is Charlie Wilson, that you're going to be sensitive to oil and gas. He said, you got to do it or he'll vote against you and you won't get enough votes. And I'm going to give him my vote for somebody that he wants. And Bobby maneuvered it. And I became an oil and gas advocate. What we didn't know is that, you know, New Mexico depends on oil and gas. So it was very easy for me. And Bobby engineered that for me. And I served in Congress, Chief Deputy Whip, because I was the first Hispanic whip. And now, today, the great thing about Menendez is he was elected. He's now chairman of the caucus. He beat everybody. And now he's a U.S. Senator. So many of us got in there by our numbers, but we got appointed. But it was the Menendezes that have attained the highest ranking in the Congress. And then Joe Vaca is now a whip, and, you know, he's a big, big, big star in the House. But it was the Bobbies and the inside early guys, Congressman Eddie Roybal, God bless him, he passed away. You know, and it was that 1982 year when 10 of us came into Congress, like a rush. The Texas guys, New Mexico, Arizona, 10 of us came in. Most of them are still in the House, you know, Ortiz. And we started growing, and now, Joe, we're what, 30, 35 in the House, and it's bipartisan. I want to just conclude with this. Running for president, let me tell you, it's fun. You know, my world's handshake here, I'm going to shatter it many, many times over. I got the whole country. You know, and I love this country. I just think that the experience of running and making lives better and trying to bring people together. I try to say, they say, well, why are you running? You got all these other stars. Mickey kind of introduced me today. He called me the long shot. By the way, you know, I announced 4 weeks ago, I've been in this 4 weeks. I started out at 1%. Today, look at the polls. I'm at 8%. I'm moving up. I'm moving up. And I got to move up a little more. But, you know, there's a second tier. I'm kind of alone in the second tier, formidable opponents. But I am raising funds. It's going well. Many of you helped me this morning. Thank you. You know, there are two races for the presidency, for votes and for those that fund your campaign, because the country is so huge, the media markets are so expensive, and you have to strike early. You can't, like, say, I'm not going to do well in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada, and I'll come back in California in June. I mean, it all happens right away. By the way, Joe, if you can get that California primary with all those Latinos moved up, I'm for it. So work on that. In fact, the governor told me, the Governor Schwarzenegger, that you know, it looks pretty decent. But make sure it happens, Joe. So, running for president, I'm asked, and I was asked at the press conference, well, are you a Hispanic candidate? Well, how do you use your Hispanicness? And I said, well, you know, here's how I use it. And you know, those of you, our people, nuestra gente, you know how they put us in boxes all the time? You know, the Hispanic, okay, they only care about immigration or civil rights. They don't care about other issues. The reality is our community isn't just centered on those, quote, Hispanic issues. We care about jobs and education and the war in Iraq. We're mainstream. We're the biggest market in this country. We're part of the mainstream. And, you know, you get both political parties. How do you get the Hispanic vote? Oh, well, you know, you trot out the mariachis and you start singing. That doesn't happen anymore. It doesn't happen anymore. They still do it, by the way. They're still done. You come out and you see how the outreach is and some of the radio ads. You know, now with blogging and internet, it's so different, and technology and kids using this blogger technology and the internet. It's changed politics. But, you know, I just hope that Charlie Erickson still keeps his Hispanic link. And I just saw Charlie over there. He's been at this, and that's important, that we not forget, you know, today in this age of electronics and Telemundo and Univision and all this new technology, which we love, that we not forget those that brought us here. So, I'm an American governor, proud to be Hispanic. Am I only running on Hispanic issues? No. Am I trying to get the Hispanic vote? Yeah. Am I going to be the first American president to do more for Hispanics than any other president? Yeah, I am. Am I, you know, and it's not just our issues. It's not just dropout rate issues. It's not just having a sensible comprehensive immigration plan. It's not just, and I said to President Bush, the nation's governors met with him. And after I got him a little mad on, the North Korea, and I said, Mr. President, I congratulate you. With North Korea, you talked to him directly. And guess what? By engaging in direct diplomacy, they actually did something. And I congratulate you on this agreement. Why don't you do it with Iran and Syria? And he acknowledged that. And then he said, I'm for comprehensive immigration. I'm going to push this year. I'm optimistic. I said, that's good. And I'll help him because we need to have this happen. And so whether we're dealing with these issues that are pictured as issues that relate to us, or they're pictured as issues that relate to the American mainstream, I'm going to be in them. I want your help. This is an office that is pretty important. And I wouldn't have jumped in if I didn't think I was ready. I'm ready. In fact, I think I'm the best qualified for this job. Now, and I did it. Y lo hice porque ustedes me enseñaron y me apoyaron. You were always there. I'll never forget those of you in this room that countless times have helped all of us, and we've helped each other. It's a long journey. 10 months away. A lot can happen in 10 months. You ask those candidates that were at 3% when I was now at 8%, and they were possibly nominees. And you ask those that were at 45% 10 years ago, or 4 years ago, and aren't doing, you never know what will happen in this business. But I think the American people, if they see the track record, if they see your passion, they see that we're going to go in a grassroots campaign, we're going to be respectable in the fundraising arena, they will give us a chance. And I think the most exciting thing about this election is the barriers, I believe, in America are broken. Whether we elect an African American, a woman, a Latino, those days are gone. The American people want leadership. They want commitment. They want somebody that's going to deal with problems. So, one of the things that happens when you run, you lose control of your life. Look at all this. I mean, I got no say in anything I do. I can't eat. I can't have a cigar. I got to wear these fancy, it's not that fancy, these suits. I got to comb my hair. I got to do things that I wasn't able to do before. But I want to just say to all of you, I thank you. I need your help. We can win this thing. And if that happens, we make history. Gracias. Thank you.
Governor Richardson, on behalf of the Latino Leaders Network, it's my honor to present you with the Nambe Eagle Leadership Award for your outstanding service to our community and to the United States of America. How many folks are aware, the governor didn't mention this, but I'll make you aware of this. It was news to me. We just have a couple of announcements, if you'll just indulge me for several more minutes here. Our friend Carmen Lomelin, who serves proudly at the Organization of American States, indicated to me today that by vote of the Organization of American States, Governor Bill Richardson has just been appointed by OAS a special envoy to the Americans. And suddenly the State Department wants to brief him, and they want to brief him right now, so he's off to the State Department. Media partner publications, Sponsor material and other items of interest are available in our foyer area outside the ballroom as you depart. The next Latino Leaders Luncheon Series and issue hour will be held on Wednesday, May 16th, 2007, right. An announcement of our featured speaker will be made soon. I want to also thank Michelle Mingus Moore, the Executive Director of the Latino Leaders Network, today. Also, Rosa Rosales of LULAC asked that, Rosa, we got a big event going on tonight, and I'm hoping to see most of you there. The annual Legislative Awards of LULAC, and she has asked me to extend an invitation to all of you here to hear the remarks of the United States, William Jefferson Clinton, today at 4 p.m. at the J.W. Marriott Hotel. President Clinton will be receiving the LULAC President's Award at this special session. Finally, let me thank once again our sponsors who, without their contribution, this event would not be possible, to our media partners for their support, and again to all of you for joining us at this Latino Leaders Luncheon. Thank you so much.